On the bright and distant planet of Zalara, the air was thick with hope and worry. The royal city gleamed with tall silver towers and glowing crystal gardens, but inside the palace walls, the mood was far from joyful. Princess Leora, the only daughter of Queen Serana, sat quietly in her private chamber, her eyes fixed on the sky outside. For many years, Zalara's future had been tied to a great tradition. The young princess was expected to marry a suitor from another alien race. This marriage would unite their worlds and bring peace and strength to the galaxy. Powerful alien leaders from many planets had come to Zalara, hoping to win her hand. But none had been chosen. Leora felt the weight of her people's expectations pressing down on her. She was not like the other princesses in the stories. She was quiet and thoughtful, not easily impressed by power or grand displays. Her heart wished for something different, someone kind, brave, and honest. Not just strong or rich. The royal advisors were growing restless. "The time is running out," said Lord Kale, a stern and sharp-eyed man. "If the princess does not choose soon, our allies may lose faith, and our enemies will grow stronger." Queen Serana nodded gravely. "We cannot afford to wait. Zalara depends on this union." In the palace hall, many alien suitors gathered. There was Tarek from the planet Vornus, tall and covered in shining scales, his eyes glowing blue with power. Next to him stood Miro, a silent warrior from the desert world of Thraxia, known for his skill with weapons. Others showed off strange technologies or magical abilities. Yet, when the princess met their gazes, she saw only pride, not respect or understanding. One by one, the suitors presented their gifts and promises. But Leora's heart remained untouched. Meanwhile, far away on Earth, a small human colony received news of Zalara's search for a suitor. Among the colony's young people was Alex, a simple man with big dreams. Unlike others who looked at aliens with fear or suspicion, Alex was curious about the stars and the creatures beyond. He sat beneath the colony's pale moonlight, staring at the sky. "I want to show them what humans can do," he said quietly to himself. The stories of powerful aliens did not scare him. Instead, they made him want to try, to prove that humans had something special inside. When the colony leaders announced they needed a volunteer to travel to Zalara and represent humanity, Alex did not hesitate. He stood up, firm and determined. "I will go," he told them. The journey was long and dangerous. Alex trained for weeks, learning about Zalara's culture and customs. He knew the aliens saw humans as weak, but he believed his courage and heart would speak louder than strength. Back on Zalara, the royal court prepared for the grand event, the Trials of Suitors. It was a series of challenges designed to test strength, wisdom, and honor. The suitors would compete to win Leora's hand and prove themselves worthy. The night before the trials, Leora walked through the palace gardens feeling alone. The stars sparkled above her as she wondered if anyone could truly understand her hopes. Suddenly, a small message arrived. It was from a strange new suitor, the human named Alex. He asked for a chance to prove himself, not with weapons or power, but with courage and kindness. The court was shocked. No human had ever dared to take part in the trials. Whispers filled the halls. Some laughed, calling it a joke. Others frowned, worried about upsetting the delicate balance of power, but Leora felt a strange excitement. Maybe this human was different. As dawn broke over Zalara, the princess stood tall before the gathered crowd. The trials were about to begin, and with them, a new story was ready to unfold, one that would challenge old ways and open hearts in ways no one expected. The silver starship carrying Alex slowly descended onto the grand landing platform of Zalara's capital. The city's towering spires and shimmering gardens stretched out beneath him, a world unlike anything he had ever seen. Though the aliens spoke of humans as weak and unskilled, Alex's heart raced with hope and determination. As the ship's hatch opened, a small group of Zalaran guards stepped forward, their tall, elegant forms watching him carefully. Their eyes held suspicion, and their voices were calm but firm as they greeted the human visitor. "Welcome to Zalara, Alex of Earth," said Captain Vesh, a tall Zalaran with pale blue skin and piercing silver eyes. "Many here doubt your place Among the suitors, but the princess has agreed to allow your participation. You must prove yourself in the trials. Alex nodded respectfully. I am ready to do my best. The crowd in the great hall was already gathered to see the new suitor. Whispers and quiet laughter spread through the room. The other alien suitors looked at Alex with surprise, some with disdain. Many had never expected a human to arrive. Their strange clothing and advanced powers made them confident. Princess Leora stood at the far end of the hall, watching Alex carefully. She felt a mixture of curiosity and hope. Here was someone who was different not only because he was human, but because he carried no arrogance or false pride. The first trial was a test of strength. Alien suitors showed off their muscles and powers. Tarek flexed his scaled arms, lifting heavy stones with ease. Miro swung his blade, slicing through thick metal like paper. When it was Alex's turn, the crowd held their breath. Alex stepped forward and lifted a heavy metal block. It was not as easy for him as for the others, but he did not give up. Slowly, he carried the block across the hall to the finish line. Some in the crowd murmured in surprise. It was not the greatest feat of strength, but it was clear Alex was not weak. He had courage, and the second trial tested intelligence. The suitors were presented with a complex puzzle, a device that only the wisest could unlock. Alien minds were quick, their knowledge vast. Many worked with ease, solving the puzzle in minutes. Alex studied the puzzle quietly. It was unlike anything he had seen before, but he did not panic. Using human logic and creativity, he carefully moved pieces and found a hidden pattern. Slowly, the puzzle opened. The hall erupted in murmurs. The human had solved what others could not. For the third trial, honor and kindness were tested. The suitors were given a choice: compete fiercely for their own victory or help others in need. Many aliens chose to show their power. Demanding respect and loyalty, Alex noticed a young Zalaran child trapped beneath fallen debris from a nearby training area. Without hesitation, he rushed to help. Using his strength and quick thinking, he lifted the heavy stones and freed the child. Leora watched from afar, her heart moved by Alex's selfless act. Rumors spread quickly through the palace and city. The human suitor was different not just in form, but in spirit. His courage, kindness, and determination made people question old beliefs. Some began to hope that the trials might end with a new future. However, not all were pleased. Some alien leaders whispered behind closed doors, worried that a human could upset the balance of power. Captain Vesh warned Alex to be cautious. You have made friends and enemies here, he said. Some will try to block your path, Alex nodded. I only want to prove that humans are worthy. I will face any challenge. As days passed, Alex continued to learn about Zalara's culture and people. The princess, too, grew more interested in him. They met in quiet moments, speaking about dreams, hopes, and the future. Leora told Alex about the pressure she felt as the princess expected to choose a suitor she did not love. Alex shared stories of Earth, of humans fighting against odds and never giving up. Their connection grew stronger, though it remained a secret for now. Outside, the trials continued and the tension in the palace rose. Would the human suitor win the heart of the princes and the respect of Zalara? Or would old fears and rivalries stop him before the final challenge? Only time would tell. The day of the trials had arrived. The grand arena of Zalara was filled with thousands of spectators from many worlds. Bright banners fluttered in the wind, and the air buzzed with excitement and tension. The princess, dressed in royal robes, stood on the high platform watching all the suitors carefully. The trials were known to be difficult. They tested not just strength or intelligence, but also courage, wisdom, and the ability to lead. Each suitor had to prove they were worthy of the princess and the future of Zalara. First to compete were the alien suitors. Tarek, with his glowing scales, moved with great power. He lifted heavy stones and broke large metal bars. The crowd cheered for his strength. Miro showed his skill with weapons, performing fast and precise moves that seemed almost like dance. When it was Alex's turn, the crowd grew quiet. Many doubted the human would last long. Alex took a deep breath and stepped forward. His hands touched the test stones, rough and heavy. He did not try to compete with strength alone. Instead, he focused on steady movements and careful balance. Slowly, he carried the stones across the arena, never rushing or giving up. Some in the crowd began to cheer. They admired his will and patience. The princess smiled faintly, seeing something different in Alex. Not just power, but quiet strength. The second test was a challenge of wisdom. The suitors were given strange machines and puzzles. The aliens used their advanced knowledge and technology, quickly solving the tasks. Alex studied the puzzles quietly. They were unlike anything he had ever seen, but he remembered how humans faced difficult problems before. With creativity and teamwork, he looked closely, noticing small clues others missed. With steady hands, Alex moved parts of the puzzle and slowly unlocked its secrets. The crowd gasped. The human had done what many thought impossible. For the third challenge, the suitors were to show leadership and courage. They were led into a simulation of Zalara under attack by a dangerous enemy. Each suitor had to make decisions and protect the people. Many aliens showed off their weapons or called on powerful forces. Alex, however, used different skills. He listened to the people's fears and gave calm advice. He worked with others, encouraging teamwork instead of fighting alone. His kindness and bravery surprised the crowd. The princess watched closely. She saw how Alex treated the people with respect, how he did not seek glory but cared for those around him. She felt a growing respect for the human suitor, but not everyone was pleased. Some alien leaders whispered angrily. They saw Alex as a threat to the old ways. If a human could win, what would happen to their traditions? They began to plan ways to stop him. After the trials, Alex found himself invited to the palace gardens. There, Leora met him quietly under the stars. They talked for hours about their worlds, hopes, and fears. I never expected a human to stand so strong, Leora said softly. You see things in a way others do not, Alex smiled. Maybe because humans have had to be strong in different ways. We don't always have the greatest power, but we never give up. Their friendship deepened, but the challenges ahead were many. The trials were not yet over, and danger was closer than Alex knew. The excitement around the trials was growing every day, but so was the danger. Not everyone welcomed Alex's presence on Zalara. Some of the older alien leaders felt threatened by the human's courage and kindness. They whispered in dark corners, plotting ways to stop him from winning the princess's heart. One evening, as the palace grew quiet, Alex was walking through the long marble halls. Suddenly, a shadow moved behind him. Before he could react, a sharp whisper warned, "Be careful, human. Not all here want to see you succeed." Alex turned to see Captain Vesh, the Zelaran guard who had first welcomed him. Vesh's silver eyes were serious. Some in the court fear what you represent. They will try to block your way, using tricks and traps. Alex nodded. I understand, but I will not give up. I came here to show that humans are strong in ways they do not expect. The next days were filled with strange challenges. In training, Alex faced unfair tests. Some weapons were tampered with. Messages were delayed or lost. Even friendly alien suitors began to distance themselves, afraid to be seen supporting a human. One day, while practicing in the training grounds, Alex was almost caught in a trap. A heavy beam suddenly dropped where he had been moments before. Quick reflexes saved him. But the danger was clear. He reported the incident to Princess Leora. She frowned, her usual calm broken. This is more than simple rivalry, she said. They want to stop you, but I will protect you as best I can. Leora's loyalty gave Alex hope, but the palace was full of watchers and spies. Some believed that if Alex failed, the old powers would remain unchallenged. Meanwhile, Alex's kindness continued to win hearts. He helped injured guards, listened to servants, and even shared simple human meals with those who had little. The people began to see a new side of strength, one not measured by power or rank, but by respect and care. One night, in the palace garden, Leora and Alex spoke quietly. Why do they fear you so much? Leora asked. Alex looked at the stars. Maybe because I am different, but also because I bring hope that things can change. She reached out and took his hand. I believe in you, no matter what happens. But danger was closing in fast. On the eve of the final trial, Alex discovered a secret meeting of the rival leaders. They planned to disqualify him by any means, even if it meant breaking the rules. Alex knew he had to be careful. He gathered a few trusted allies, including Captain Vesh and some kind-hearted Zelleron guards, to watch his back. The final trial would decide everything, not just the princess's future, but the fate of old traditions and new hopes. Alex prepared himself, not just with weapons or training, but with courage in his heart. He was ready to face whatever came next. The final trial was unlike any before. It was called the Trial of Hearts, a challenge that tested empathy, leadership, and the ability to unite people. The grand hall was decorated with symbols of Zalara's history, shining stars, swirling patterns, and statues of past rulers. The air was thick with anticipation. Princess Leora stood beside the council as they explained the last trial. Each suitor would face a series of questions and tasks designed to reveal their true character. It was not about power or strength now, but about understanding and connection. The alien suitors stepped forward confidently. They spoke of traditions, of honor, and the importance of maintaining the old ways. Many spoke in grand, practiced speeches that showed their training but felt empty to some. When Alex's turn came, the room quieted. He did not speak of power or glory. Instead, he told stories of Earth, of human struggles and kindness, of ordinary people helping each other in hard times. He spoke about hope, courage, and the belief that people can change for the better. The princess listened closely. She saw the truth in Alex's words, the strength behind his honesty. Then came the final task. The suitors were asked to share their vision for the future, not just for Zalara, but for all the worlds. Many aliens described alliances based on trade, war, or control. But Alex spoke differently. I believe in a future where we respect each other's differences, he said softly. Where strength is not only in weapons but in kindness. Where we work together to solve problems, not fight over power. I want a world where my daughter and your children can grow in peace. A hush fell over the crowd. Some smiled, moved by his words. Others frowned, uncomfortable with the change he promised. The council was divided. Some argued that Alex did not follow the ancient customs and should be disqualified. Others believed the princess should choose freely, beyond old rules. Princess Leora stood tall and spoke firmly. Tradition is important, but it should not trap us in fear or hate. My people deserve a future built on understanding and courage. I see that in Alex, her words echoed in the hall. The room filled with whispers and gasps. The council finally agreed to let the princess decide her suitor without interference. It was a historic moment. The old ways were challenged and a new path was possible. Alex felt a mix of relief and pride. He had come far, not just because of strength, but because of the truth in his heart. That night in a quiet garden under the stars, Leora and Alex talked about what lay ahead. I never wanted to be just a symbol, Leora said. I want to build a real future with someone who understands me, Alex smiled. And I want to be part of that future, not just for you, but for all of us. Their friendship had grown into something deeper, a bond of trust and hope, but beyond the palace, some still plotted. The old powers were not ready to give up easily. The trials had changed many minds, but the fight for Zalara's future was just beginning. The moment had come that everyone in Zalara had been waiting for, the princess's decision. The great hall was filled with nobles, diplomats, and citizens from many worlds. The tension was thick as all eyes turned to Princess Leora. The council had agreed to let her choose without interference, but the weight of the decision pressed on her shoulders. This choice was more than a marriage, it was a promise to the galaxy for peace and unity. Leora stood tall and spoke clearly. I thank all the suitors for their courage and loyalty. Each has shown great strength and wisdom. She paused, looking directly at Alex, the human suitor who had surprised and inspired so many. The room grew silent, waiting. My choice is this, Alex of Earth. Gasps filled the hall. Some whispered in shock, while others smiled quietly. The old traditions had been broken, but a new hope had been born. Alex stepped forward, humble but proud. I am honored by your choice, Princess Leora. I promise to serve you and your people with respect and dedication. The princess smiled. Together we will build a future where our worlds stand as friends, not rivals. Outside, the news spread quickly. Many celebrated the decision. Humans, once seen as weak and simple, were now a symbol of hope and courage. But not all were pleased. Some alien leaders grumbled, fearing change and loss of power. Leora and Alex faced new challenges as they prepared to unite their peoples. Old fears had not disappeared, and some still questioned the humans' place at the side of the princess. Yet, they found strength in each other. Alex learned more about Zalara's customs, while Leora embraced new ideas from Earth. Together, they showed that respect and understanding could bridge even the greatest differences. In the days that followed, they met with leaders from many planets. Discussions were difficult but hopeful. Alex's honesty and kindness opened doors that had long been closed. The young princes and the human suitor became symbols of a new era, a time when courage and heart mattered more than power or tradition. One evening, as the twin moons of Zalara rose, Leora and Alex stood side by side on the palace balcony. This is only the beginning, Leora said softly. Alex nodded. But it's a strong beginning. For all of us. The galaxy watched, waiting to see what the future would hold. Together, the princess and her human chose to lead not with fear, but with hope. The palace of Zalara was filled with a new energy. The choice of Princess Leora to stand with Alex, the human suitor, had changed everything. People from all over the galaxy talked about this union, some with hope, others with doubt. But the young princess and the human man were ready to face it all together. In the weeks that followed the announcement, Zalara began to change. Old traditions, once rigid and strict, began to loosen. The people saw how Alex treated everyone with kindness and respect, no matter their background. His simple acts, helping workers, listening to stories, sharing meals, spread a feeling of trust and unity. Leora watched her people with pride. She saw the hope returning to their eyes, a hope that had been missing for too long. The princess was no longer just a symbol of old alliances. She was a leader of a new way, one built on friendship and understanding. Together, Alex and Leora traveled across Zalara, meeting with citizens, learning their needs and dreams. Alex shared stories of Earth, a world that had faced many challenges but always found ways to move forward. He spoke of human courage, not just in battle, but in everyday kindness and hope. Word of their efforts reached distant worlds. Other planets began to consider new alliances, inspired by the changes on Zalara. Humans, once seen as simple and weak, were now recognized as strong in heart and mind, but challenges remained. Some leaders still feared change and tried to stir old conflicts. They spread rumors and doubts, hoping to weaken the new bond between Zalara and Earth. One day, a message arrived from a distant star system. It was a warning. Forces opposed to peace were gathering, preparing to strike. Leora and Alex knew they must be ready, not just with weapons, but with unity and strength of spirit. They called together leaders from many worlds, forming a council of peace. Together they worked to build defenses and solve problems through talks, not fights. Alex's human perspective helped find new solutions, mixing old wisdom with new ideas. As the days passed, the bond between Leora and Alex grew stronger. They shared quiet moments under Zalara's twin moons, speaking of their hopes for the future. I never imagined this life, Leora said softly one night, but I am glad you stepped forward. Alex smiled. Neither did I, but sometimes the greatest journeys begin with a single step. Their story became a legend, a tale of courage, hope, and the power of understanding. It showed that strength was not only in power or tradition, but in the heart. The galaxy watched as a new era began, one where humans and aliens stood together, facing the future as friends and allies. Princess Leora and Alex, the human, had changed. More than their own worlds, they had changed the galaxy.